Who really wants to save money slowly? I mean, if you have the option to save money fast or save money slow, which would you pick? I'm gonna bet fast, and in this video, I'm gonna share 5 tips to help you save faster than you ever thought possible. Let's get to it. All right, tip number 1, and this is something that really revolutionized the way I save money and seriously increased the speed at which I save money, and that's isolate your savings. And what I mean by that is take all of your savings and open a new bank account at a completely separate bank than your checking account and put all of your savings in there. Whenever you save money, put money in there. Don't put it in a savings account that sits right at the same bank as your checking account that you'll see every single time you log into your checking account. This is beneficial because, one, it kind of hides it. It makes it a little less obvious to you. So every time you check your checking account, you're not going to see a big pile of savings sitting there. So you'll be less likely to dip into it. And 2, it makes it a little less convenient if you do decide to dip into it, or if you're tempted to dip into it. It'll take a couple days in most circumstances to get that money from one bank to the bank where you keep your checking account in order to spend the money. And that 2 or 3 day gap can sometimes be just enough to keep you from spending your hard-earned savings. So tip number 1, isolate your savings. Do it right now after you watch this video. Unless you decide to watch more of my videos, go and open a separate bank account at a different bank than you keep your checking account. Okay, tip number 2, and this is get on a written budget. I'm not talking about a budget that's in your head, or, this is how I used to be. I used to think, well, I don't need a budget because I know exactly how much income I have and how much my expenses are coming out. Well, that's also how I ended up in $34,000 of debt and barely scraping by. So I can tell you from personal experience, if you're not on a written budget, get on a written budget. It is the most important thing you can do for your financial future. It'll give you complete control over your money. It'll give you a clear picture of how you're behaving with your money throughout the month. It'll just help you save a lot more money. The best thing about a budget is if you plan it out specifically, and we recommend a zero-based budget, which is a budget that specifically plans out every dollar of your income for the month. And the reason that we recommend a zero-based budget, if you use this, it will give you just a massive amount of control. It will really revolutionize the way you handle your finances. I always say that specificity in finance, it leads to success. So if you want to save money faster than you ever thought possible, the second thing you should do is get on a written budget as soon as you possibly can. After you open that isolated savings account at a new bank, then get on a written budget, get on a zero-based budget. To do so, start with your income, and then subtract how much you plan to give and save, and then figure out a way to live off of what's remaining. And that really sort of dovetails into my next point, which is the most important thing you can do if you want to save money fast. And that's tip number 3. Save before you spend. This is not the way the average person handles their money. Most people actually spend first and then save whatever's left over. But the problem with that is that it subjects your savings to how much you spend throughout the month. So if you decide to spend money on a whim or on an impulse on something that maybe doesn't fit into your budget or fit within your means, then your savings suffers. Whereas if you save first and then live within the rest of the money that you have left over, then you for sure will hit your savings goals because you've prioritized savings, you've done it first. It's like, the metaphor I like to use is like, if you want to work out every single day, if you want to lose weight, the first thing you should do every single morning is work out, because then it's out of the way and the rest of the day you are free to do, whatever it is that you want to do. But if you start the day with working out, then you don't have to worry about getting tired at the end of the day and missing a workout just because you're exhausted. So start with saving and then live off of what's left. This is how wealthy people handle their money. And when I say save, just to be clear, that might mean investing. That might mean putting it into an emergency fund or saving for a down payment on a house or some other kind of sinking fund, which is another subject that we'll get into in a later video. But saving can mean a whole bunch of different things depending on where you are in your financial journey. So wherever you are, save your money first, invest your money first, whatever. Every time you get a paycheck, the first thing you should do is put money into savings or put money into investments, and then live off of what's left. And this is why having a budget, a specific budget, is so important, because first of all, if you plan out your entire month, then you know exactly how much you're going to spend and exactly how much you can save. And so there's no worry about putting money into savings at the beginning of the month because you've planned out your entire month. And secondly, with your budget, you can figure out a way to live off of what's remaining. You can cut expenses. You can figure out whether or not maybe you need to make a little bit more money and figure out a way to earn a little bit more income. You can do all sorts of things. You can move money from one category of your budget to another to make your spending work throughout the month. A budget really is sort of the starting point for saving first. All right, tip number 4, and this is something that I have learned over the course of time, and it is reduce your fixed expenses. So a fixed expense is any expense that occurs on a regular basis, whether that's monthly, quarterly, or even annually, but in most cases it's monthly. Any expense that occurs monthly that is a consistent amount. So things like your car insurance or a cell phone bill or even rent or your mortgage, anything that's a consistent dollar amount that you have to pay every single month. If you can find a way to reduce your fixed expenses, let's say it's your car insurance and you can reduce your car insurance by $100 or your cell phone bill by $100 every single month, then you just effectively saved yourself $1,200 over the course of an entire year. So if you want to save fast, one of the best ways to do that is reduce your fixed expense. Yes, you should look at other expenses that you can reduce that are maybe one-off expenses, or you could cut out things like dining out too often or other expenditures that you have that maybe just don't really support your savings goals. But if you can find a way to reduce your fixed expenses, that's a way to save faster for in perpetuity. It could last years. If you really want to save fast and you want to save fast for a long period of time, one of the best things that you can do is reduce your fixed expenses. All right, number 5, and this is something that I just get super excited about, and that's play offense, and in particular, play offense with your income. So too many people, and I have been one of these people, rely on other people to determine how much money they make. So whether it's a boss at your current job or whatever, they wait for someone else to get to pay them more money. And that's just not something that you should do. You have power over your income. No matter what other people tell you, you have power. You can go start your own side business. You can muster up the courage to go talk to your boss about a raise. You can go get a second part-time job that you work at nights. You can happen to your income. You can be bold and courageous and play offense with your income and attack your income so that you earn more money and save faster. And if you want to save fast, the best way to do that is to earn more money. Because if you're living on a budget, you're isolating your savings account, you've learned to save before you spend, and you've reduced some of your fixed expenses, and then on top of all those 4 things, you figure out a way to earn more money, then all that money can pretty much go towards savings. You know, even if you're just delivering pizzas, you could earn $1,500, $2,000, maybe even $2,500 a month on top of your normal income, which can seriously increase the speed at which you reach your financial goals. So there you have it. Those are my 5 tips for saving faster. I personally use these. My wife and I use these in our own financial life. And these are the 5 things that I've really found have helped us save at a rate that I never used to be able to save. So I hope these help. And if you're looking for a little inspiration in the world of personal finance, be sure to watch some of these other videos. Peace.